Shields up, Iron Breakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about negativity and just why the hell are we, the online community, not just gamers, the online community at large, regardless of what you happen to do online, regardless if you're just on social media, whatever it is that you happen to be doing, why are we as an online generation so goddamn negative all the damn time? And especially, why are we so damn toxic? And you guys can tell that I'm saying we. I'm including myself, even though I try hard as hell to be a little bit of an antidote to all that toxicity. I try to highlight as many of the good things as possible while still talking about negative stuff that happens throughout the gaming industry. But I would much rather focus on things that are positive over the negative, because there is an oversaturation of bad news to the point where you would almost think that some people would like it if there was bad news all the motherfucking time, just so that they could be doing videos about it and talking about it and perpetrating the evilness of just everything that exists. It's just completely mind-boggling, and it blows my mind on so many different levels that we can't gather around a positive subject as well as we can gather around something that is negative. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes it's a good thing the way that we react to certain things, but a lot of times it's just flat out abuse. Today's video was spurred on by an article that I read last night. This article's in Polygon. I'm going to have a link to it below the video on a comment so that you guys can go check it out if you want to. And that article was written by Morgan Jaffet of Defiant Development. These are the people who created the video games Hand of Fate 1 and 2, which, if I'm being completely honest, I haven't really played them yet. I know that these games are essentially like these card games where you get a bunch of cards and it generates like a dungeon that you can then go through. And it actually seems like an interesting concept. A friend of mine has played some of them and he said these games are actually really fun. It's just I personally never got around to playing them. But it was an interesting article where he was talking about how abuse, and by that term he's talking about online abuse like Twitter replies and Facebook messages and death threats and doxing and all this other bullshit that tends to happen. He was talking about how that is basically the cost of doing business for developers. And I really got to thinking, like, wow, do developers, just like in general, do they deserve all of this abuse? Like, even if they've done a bad video game, do they deserve this kind of like level of personal attacks, of people sending them death threats, of people doxing them, releasing their private information, telling everybody where they live? And you know that there's some fucked up individual out there who's messed up in the head and someday gonna do something. I mean, we've already had people do some really messed up shit, basically, with the doxing and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, bad things happen once you go down that line. So do developers actually deserve all of that? Like, I feel that they don't deserve all of the abuse they get. If anything, developers deserve criticism. Now, if you guys look, for instance, at the situation around Battlefront 2, because it's an easy one to get behind. It's because everybody knows what happened with Battlefront 2, with the loot boxes and all that stuff. And for instance, you take a look at I think I did like 2, maybe 3 videos on that particular topic, specifically because I was actually playing Need for Speed as well as Battlefront 2, because EA sent me those 2 games and I played them and I had to give you guys my opinion. And it's like, the way that I tried working on my videos is basically informing people, look, here's the situation. This is pretty fucked up. I don't like these things that they are doing, and I don't think that we should accept these things that they are doing as a community. But ultimately, I feel that the games behind all of this mess that they have, like the actual Need for Speed game, I thought it was fun. I don't know, it's not a game for everybody, whatever. I'm not going to get into that particular topic, but I thought the game itself was fun. Like, that was a game that I would actually like to play more, but I couldn't take the progression seriously. Same thing with Battlefront 2. I actually enjoyed the gameplay of Battlefront 2, but I couldn't take the progression seriously, which caused me not to really continue to play the game. Of course, there are some people who took that way over it and just like kept milking that particular topic for all it's worth, with every little minute change that the topic would suffer. Boom. I did kind of the same similar videos to that when it came to the Destiny 2 controversies. That was particularly because I really liked Destiny 2 when I played it. and I highly advised people to go and get Destiny 2 if they thought the game looked good. And I felt obligated to like report and update the situation. But again, I was reporting and updating on a situation and performing a critique to a developer. I wasn't like verbally abusing them or anything like that. And the type of hatred that a lot of these developers receive is mind-blowing. Like, it's just like people just doing all kinds of writing, all kinds of really nasty shit. Like, how are you even, where do you even get the creativity? Like, I wish people use the creativity that they use on some of these Twitter posts that I've seen. I wish they would use that kind of creativity to something maybe a little bit more constructive, because you might think, oh yeah, it's cool, let's stick it to the man, tell it like it is, fuck these people, all of that stuff. Like, yeah, sure, it's kind of, you might think it's cool, but ultimately what is going to happen is there might be some people that are interested in coming into the game development scene, and they see all of this hatred and vitriol throughout the internet, and they're like, dude, I don't want to have to deal with that shit. I don't want to have to stress myself out over this kind of narrative that is happening around video games. And I say that as someone who sometimes is a victim of this kind of vitriol because of things that I say. Like, even on my Star Citizen video where I reported on something negative and I tried to be as respectful as possible, always trying to report on things and saying, like, look, guys, like, seriously, prove me wrong on these topics. This is something that I would love to be proven wrong on, and here's the way that I see things. But again, people just take it to the next level. And there's a particular bit of this article that I'm going to be quoting exactly what the article says, because I think it is an important part of things that are contributing to the problem. So here's what they have to say. Over time, big studio development has lost the trust of its audience, in some cases for good reasons. The gap between what was going on behind the scenes and what the PR people presented publicly became more and more obvious. The response to that and the rise of alternatives to the mainstream games media was a lot of people telling it like it is on YouTube and elsewhere. Jim Sterling, Angry Joe, any number of people who shout a lot about the injustices of the industry. Now, don't get me wrong, because I'm not criticizing Jim Sterling and Angry Joe. I don't think they do that much abuse. But at the same time, I do feel that they contribute a little bit to the problem, because they don't necessarily mince words, and they do have a lot of negative videos. I actually am a little bit surprised that he puts Angry Joe in together with Jim Sterling, because I don't feel that Angry Joe is as negative as Jim Sterling. And again, I'm someone who watches all of Jim Sterling shit. I like his videos. I think his videos are great. But I do feel that a part of it is a part of the problem. And what do I mean by that? That is the next section that they mention on the article, which I will now read. If you look at any of those YouTubers and sort their videos by popularity, you'll find out that what they already know. Shouting is popular. Videos with titles like Shittiest Games of 2016 and Why It's Moral to Pirate Everything Nintendo Makes rate a whole lot better than nuanced and insightful reviews. And this is something that I've been talking about a little bit. And again, I don't want people like think that I'm going up against Jim Sterling, Angry Joe. I'm not interested in fighting that fight at all. Just like straight up not interested. Like I said, I actually watch all of their videos, but they do make an interesting point here. And this is not Jim Sterling or Angry Joe's fault. This is the community's fault at large, because if you do sort the videos of Jim Sterling and Angry Joe, you will notice that their negative videos, the videos where they really just rail into a developer, they have a ton of more views than their more positive stuff. Like, something that I've noticed was, like, I was looking at, specifically at Jim Sterling, and he, at the end of the year, he always does these series of videos where he says, here's the best games of this year, and here is the worst games of this year. Well, he actually calls it the best game awards and the worst game awards, whatever. And you will notice that the worst games always have more views. It's like people would rather watch a video talking about shitty ass games than hear about games that are actually relevant and actually good. And it just blows my mind. I'm pretty sure if I was to make a video that I was just like, oh, these are the shittiest games of 2017, it would probably get way more views than the video that I did where I talked about the best games of 2017. But to me, I feel it is much more important to talk about what is happening good in the industry so that the people who are doing good actually feel rewarded for the good that they are doing than necessarily constantly just highlight what is going bad. In a way, I almost feel like the more we talk about the bad shit in the industry, the more attention we are drawing to it, and ultimately we're just making the problem even worse. And it's just like, I don't have a solution for this. I really wish that the online community at large could just like rally behind positivity much more than we rally behind negativity, which is, it's something that I really don't understand. Like, why do we need to just like harp on is like, this thing fucking sucks, and I want to make sure that everybody knows this thing fucking sucks, and that's fine, you can do that. But it's like, after you've told everyone, you're like, and I want to make sure that I keep telling everyone how much this thing fucking sucks and how much I hate it and how aggravated I am by what this fucking thing is doing. And we can't move on from it. We're constantly stuck in that negative cycle, which essentially it also causes developers themselves, particularly large developers, to just not listen at all, because they know that all they're listening to at this point is an angry mob with pitchforks and torches. And they're just like, dude, why should we listen to you? All you want to do is like burn everything down. There's not a hint of reasonable discourse at this point. It's just hatred and vitriol just spread throughout the entirety of the internet. It is insane to me. And you guys will be like, oh, come on, Rurikhan, I'm sure it's not that bad. And I can give you like a super easy example. Look at any MOBA community when they are playing their MOBA of choice. And MOBAs is just like, because it's easy to talk about MOBAs because they're some of the biggest and most successful games right now. Look at any MOBA community, even on the MOBAs that are not that successful, even on those. But look at any MOBA community when they're playing a match of their MOBA of choice and they are losing. Oh my God, look at the chat. It is the most cancerous shit you will ever see. There's literally no empathy. Like, I'm not sure if these people were standing side by side and suddenly there was a fire. I'm not sure if these people would aid each other. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if they would help each other out. I think they would legit just straight up push someone into the fire and just be like, good, now you're fucking dead. That's how much cancer and negativity there is in this community. And that's just a very small sampling. And I know that actually putting this video in my own channel, where I tend to have a community that's a little bit more positive, it's kind of weird. But I just wanted to alert you guys to this. And in a way, I wanted us, as the Ironbreakers, to keep contributing to making everything a little bit more positive. You know, just try to, I don't know, if maybe someone that is watching this is in some position of influence in some community somewhere, and maybe you can make things better by doing something. And I don't know what that something is, but I just have to get the message out there because it's insane. And we might actually be losing on future talent for the video game industry simply because we're so goddamn negative. And when I say the video game industry, it can be any industry at all. And again, don't forget something. I'm saying this as someone who is aware that I'm part of the problem, but I'm trying as hell to stop being a part of the problem. Let's hope everyone else can do the same. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.